and gentlemen. I'm Alexandra Ovchinnikova, and it is a hard talk on the topic of what is going on in the committees. Our guests today are all delegates of the strongest economy of the European Union and one of the strongest economies of the world, the German Republic. And in the course of the day, we heard some very uncommon for German positions. For example, what is going now in SOCHUM? Could you tell us, please, about this proposal you've mentioned today to donate 10% of the European Council budget to drug trafficking issue?
We have discussed with you, it's not for the first time exactly, if I'm not right. We came to the conclusion that 2% is too huge for Germany, for European Union economy, so we reduce it to the 2%.
From 10%?
From 10 to 2, yeah.
To 2%.
Yeah.
But how can you come to figure 10% that was today morning?
I was thinking, because I was really disappointed about this problem of drug trafficking. I really did not know what to do in this situation, because a lot of other governments were really against our position. So we tried to give the more effective proposals to them, as money, for example.
Okay, then now we turn to honorable delegate from the Council of the European Union, and I heard your suggestion. We have a fund of 40 billion euro, am I correct? And there is a program that helps the youth to find jobs.
Right.
And you proposed spending 60% of the program on this youth program. What is this program going to include? Because as I understood from the delegate of Luxembourg, it is going to be about help the youth find jobs. Does it cost 24 billion euro to help them?
Okay, so actually what we're discussing in the Council of the European Union currently is youth unemployment. And what the $40 billion is not, 40 billion euro, excuse me, is not coming from Germany. It's coming from the European Social Fund, which is a fund that has money in it from all of the European European Union states. So what we're discussing is splitting this fund for short-term goals and long-term goals. So we've decided to spend, or we're talking about spending 60% on these long-term goals, part of which will be programs to help youth transfer from school to careers. So what this would be a program to implement internship and vocational training programs. So this money would go towards countries to help them stimulate this progress.
Okay, then one of your statements that aroused criticism from Finland, you said we have the fund, we just can't spend it all, and Finland was opposing. Was this expression just made by emotion, or is it really the policy of Germany now?
The policy of Germany would be that what's happening in this conversation is that some countries are asking the wealthier nations, Germany especially, to give their funds towards this towards weaker nations in the European Union to aid them in preventing youth unemployment and decreasing youth unemployment. However, Germany is suggesting that we use the money from these funds as opposed to only relying on the wealthier nations. So that's why we're taking a strong stance on using this European Social Fund to the best of its abilities, using all of it.
So you see, this approach does not contradict the usual approach of austerity measure proposed by the German Republic?
No, this is. I think this is very much in line with the austerity program that the Germans take.
Mrs. Song, do you agree? Mrs. Song comes from the UNEP committee.
Yeah.
Do you agree that such approach reflects the usual austerity approach of the German Republic?
Yeah, I think this is very reasonable because Germany really thinks that every fund in the European Union should take the best use out of it.
Okay, so if there is a fund, we just can't spend it all.
It's not spend it all, but to make the best use of it. So we can always figure out a way to spend it reasonably.
Okay.
Not just spend them all.
That's not correct. Okay, but you're much more reserved in your committee. Tell us about your position. You represent environmental issues, yes?
Yes, we're dealing with dangerous waste, In our committee, we didn't talk a lot about financial aid. Instead of financial aid, we're talking more about technical and legal assistance to the developing countries or other countries. And we work as a team, as a committee, within the global scale to dealing with dangerous waste.
Okay, and then let's turn to Mr. Novak. What is going on in ECOFIN? I heard you are also speaking about some subsidies to the developing countries.
Yes, the topic we are discussing has to do with sustainable agriculture for both subsistence and cash crop farming. Now, our Germany's position on this is to provide subsidies to developing countries funded by developed countries and create an international organization that will be able to to increase cooperation between developed and developing countries and help fund sustainable farming for the future.
Okay, how you estimate the subsidies? What is going to be like in percentage, maybe of budget, percentage of European Union budget, or some esteem?
No direct figures have been created yet. We are still in voting procedures. However, this, of course, will not be inexpensive. There are, of course, barriers to entry, such as infrastructure for developing countries, which, of course, need to be taken into consideration when providing any subsidies.
Okay, so, and then the last question. Would you assure me that all measures proposed by you are not going to worsen the crisis in the European Union that the countries are experiencing right now?
We promise.
We promise.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.